Hi, my name is Edwin Madera. I'm an internationally educated engineer from the Philippines. I'm participating in this endeavor to share my particular path and experience in being recognized as an engineer in Canada. I completed my Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering from the University of the Philippines, Diliman last April 1998. I obtained my mechanical engineering license in the Philippines last October 1998 by taking the Registered Mechanical Engineering Board exam conducted by the Professional Regulatory Commission. I also obtained my Professional Mechanical Engineering license last November 2012, which is also controlled by the Professional Regulatory Commission in the Philippines. My wife and I migrated to Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada last July in 2014. I become employed in a company doing an engineering-related work since August of 2014. I also learned about the main topic of this video, NCES FE, on the summer of 2015, but I will discuss more on that later on. My professional background in the Philippines was focused in product design and manufacturing, primarily from the automotive lead-acid battery industry and the orthopedic medical device industry. I obtained work experience from both technical and manufacturing aspects of those industries. Pursuing engineering Eng in Canada is the most logical path for me, given my educational background and previous work experience. I know I have the mental toughness for the required exams. I know I earn more than sufficient knowledge and skills to be recognized as an engineer in Canada. Being recognized as an engineer in Canada would help immensely in attaining a good life here. If you have the PEng title, there's the higher probability that you can find better paying jobs, hence a better life. While I was still in the Philippines, I've done enough research from online sources and obtained other verbal information from friends already residing in Winnipeg about being certified as an internationally educated engineer under Engineers Geoscientist Manitoba. Engineers Geoscientist Manitoba is mandated by provincial law to govern and regulate the practice of professional engineering and professional geoscience in Manitoba. There are several existing options available to hurdle the major obstacle in being certified as a PEng, which is to satisfy the academic assessment of Engineers Geoscientist Manitoba. After I submitted my application along with the required documents and fees, several options were offered to me after the assessment. I chose the newest option of taking the NCE's Fundamental of Engineering examination because this option provides the shortest time and the least cost. NCES is a National Council of Examiners for Engineering and Surveying. It is a national nonprofit organization in the United States composed of engineering and land surveying boards represented in all U.S. states and territories. NCES is also responsible for the administration of the examinations that engineers must pass in order to become certified as a professional engineer in the United States of America. NCES administers FE examination in Manitoba under an agreement with Engineers Geoscientist Manitoba. This move is to provide additional streamlining of the recognition process of internationally educated engineers living in Manitoba, Canada. So for me, I started document gathering for the academics assessment last December 2015, primarily getting my school records from the school in the Philippines straight to Engineers Geoscientist Manitoba's office here. They won't allow you to provide the actual records from yourself to the office. It should be straight from the school to Engineers Geoscientist Manitoba. I completed the prerequisite documents by mid of January 2016. and I've been able to submit the documents by first week of February 2016. When I submitted those documents, I scheduled a meeting with the assessment officer of Industry Scientist Manitoba. I would prefer that you do the same thing. If you have some additional questions on your application, it will be best to ask the assessment officer about it. And then I received the results of the assessment by last week of February 2016 through mail. And since I already chosen NCES, I followed the instructions listed there to become registered for NCES. After asking around and doing online search about the NCES FE exams, I purchased the recommended materials by the same month. And then I finalized the date for my exam on the same month too. I started reviewing for the FE exam on April 2016, and I've chosen the date for my particular FE exam on August 27, 2016. To hard work reviewing and doing what's necessary to prepare for it, I've been able to get the results less than a week after my exam, and I passed. Well, my struggles for me in doing the FEME exam is to how to study properly for it, and of course, where to get the time. So my primary challenge was to how to study properly. By myself. In the Philippines, when I studied for the Registered Mechanical Engineering Board exam, I was enrolled in a review center specializing in ME board exams. And they were there to assist me in properly reviewing for it. Unfortunately, there's no such kind available here in Manitoba, or perhaps in the whole of Canada. After studying initially, as prescribed in the review manual that I've purchased, I found them lacking in providing proper direction. For me, the scope is just overwhelming. It was almost 2 decades since I took an exam with the same caliber, and at the time I was fresh out of school. So I surfaced the internet once more, and there I found online videos that discussed on how to review properly and pass the FE exams. One such video is entitled "How to Beat the FE Exam Without Beating Your Head." The subject of this video focused on how to assess your strengths and weaknesses in the engineering subjects covered by the FE exam after self-assessment based on the principles. We will have a guide on how to study and how much time to provide for each subject. From one such online video, I've been able to summarize my strengths and weaknesses in the ME subjects covered by the FE-ME exam. I have a slide showing that summary of details. So this is the summary of the subjects as directed by the video that I mentioned earlier. In the outline provided by NCES for FE Mechanical, you have 15 subjects as listed here. The video instructed you to categorize these subjects according to your strengths and weaknesses. The categories are divided into 3, into your strongest, mediocre, and weakest. The video explains that if it is categorized as strongest, it means that questions from these subjects, you will be able to properly answer the questions 85% of the time, and then 60% for mediocre and 25% on your weakest subjects. And on the said outline provided by the NCES, there's a minimum and maximum number of questions for each topic. And there's also 110 questions total for the whole exam. So for your strongest and mediocre subjects, you multiply those probabilities to the low end number of questions, and then you multiply the probability of the weakest to the high number of questions, and then you total them all, and you should be able to get more than 60 or 60. Although NCS doesn't pinpoint a passing score, the experts, like the author of this video, they say that you could peg this passing score at 60. So for me, to make it more conservative, I make my passing score as 65. So in this slide, I made it 65 to be more conservative. So in addition to the review materials, the methods, you must get the proper materials. I would highly recommend the materials authored by Michael Lindbergh. He's been in the business of providing these materials for 3 decades, and they provide very accurate in the format and the difficulty level of the questions. Getting the proper exam calculator would definitely help you in doing the exam. Choosing the proper calculator would provide you more like shortcuts, so that you can answer the questions faster in seconds. And also, like I mentioned earlier, there's a reference book that could be accessed on the exam. You could use that, so you would know what is the coverage of the exam. You can have it printed out so that you would know properly where to find it. And then in addition to the exam, you have also to prepare your mind and body. Listening to music or preparing your mind to meditation or like that, it would help you in properly preparing for the exam. For me, I read this book about the art of mental training. It helps you to learn to control your state and excel even under extreme pressure. I would also listen to classical music so that it would help me focus on doing exam. You can do almost anything as long as that activity would help you provide more focus. Also, in preparing for your mind for the exams, do not neglect in preparing your body. Proper diet and enough sleep should be provided. You should consider that when you're doing the actual exam or you're nearing the exam date, so that you could perform well on the date itself. Scouting the exam area would provide less stress for you during the exam date. There could be like construction and traffic, so you don't have to think about it when you're doing the exam. On the exam day itself, you have to manage your time. You should be able to answer questions at a specific amount of time, and of course, you should control your food and liquid intake. You don't have to spend time more on the restroom because of this. So even on exam date itself, you have to control your state of mind. You don't need to panic when you're not able to answer your questions. Do your plan and stick to it during the exam itself. I would advise on people who want to pursue your PNG. You have to first evaluate your resources and options and how to access it. Be able to, if you be able to do this, you'll be able to know the path that is proper for you. Next thing is to complete the academic assessment. Doing this crucial task would help you in building up the momentum in pursuing your PhD. Not doing the academic assessment would be like not doing anything. And after you're getting your academic assessment, you should make a plan and stick to it. Do your time management, get your materials, properly plan your day-to-day to properly so that you could stick to the plan. And then repeating, reminding yourself of the reasons why you're pursuing PhD would provide tremendous self-motivation. And it's also helpful that the assistance could be provided by family members, by friends, and by the community. So joining a group like the Filipino chapter of Engineers, Geoscientists Manitoba will help you in doing the right thing in pursuing your PhD title. And of course, you have to gather relevant information. Internet is full of it, and getting them at the time you're doing the task in pursuing your PhD should be relevant. Whatever information would I be telling you, it could be like obsolete in 6 to a year. So you need to be able to research on it properly, and it should be relevant on the time you're doing it. So with all this information, I wish you all good luck in pursuing your PhD.